a very special personality who will be talking about literature review, a very important topic for researchers. You must be wondering, every topic is important, and since yesterday you have been listening this thing very often, right? This is very important, that is very important. Of course, every aspect is important. One of the most important aspects is literature review, and to talk about literature review, we have with us today Dr. Shanmugam sir. Now he is the chief scientist from CLR, right? He is the head of the department and senior principal scientist, and also the professor of ACSIR. He belongs to the Department of Environmental Technology, CSIR, Central Leather Research Institute, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, Adyar. So sir has completed 29 years of R&D, teaching, consultancy, experience. In fact, before I planned to read this out, Dr. Kumaresan, the deputy director, and myself, we were having a discussion and a conflict of interest. Which should I read and which should I leave out? Because it's too huge and all the achievements seem to be very important. I'll just highlight a few things. Say, for example, sir has received the Commonwealth Fellowship Award from the British Council UK for 3 years. Now, this is a very prestigious fellowship. He has also received the Peter Wilson Award for an outstanding research performance by the British Nuclear Fuels Limited and the University of Leeds. He's also the recipient of Honorable Ex-President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Memorial Best Scientist Award by Government of TN on the 70th Independence Day. I think he deserves a big round of applause for this. Thanks. He has also received the United Nations Development Program Fellowship. The Royal Academy of Engineering has recognized Sir's services, and he has received several travel fellowships to different international conferences. Sir holds a PhD in Environmental and Public Health Engineering from the School of Civil Engineering of the University of Leeds, England, which he did with his Commonwealth Fellowship. He also holds an MS in Environmental and Water Resources Engineering, Department of Civil Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and also an MSc in Environmental Sciences from Bharatidasan University. So with a lot of administrative experience and teaching experience, he has also supervised 5 PhD students, published 45 international research papers, 54 different government-sponsored projects he has completed, 18 in number. So his core research area, sir says, is biogas purification and bottling to bio-CNG. And there is a huge list, which I think I will not do because that will eat away into a lot of time. So sir will be talking about literature review. The session starts now and will go on till 11. Welcome, sir. We are very honored to have you. I request our director, madam, to please felicitate sir with a small token of our love and appreciation.
Madam. Oh, great. Thank you very much. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Very much. Thank you. For research, you have brought me here to make the dynamic way of telling you what is a literature review. Thank you very much, madam, to the Director, Center for Research. Thank you very much to Dr. Kumaresan and Dr. Soundaranagi, and of course Dr. Shobha, who have really immensely made this course successful, who really have been discussing with me quite a long time, almost 2-3 years back, and wanted this course to be the immense benefit of the PhD scholars. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your effort. God bless you. Thank you very much indeed. Although our Professor Velraj sir is not here, the Vice Chancellor of this university, who have taken a very keen initiative on beginning such courses to the university. It is indeed going to pave a great path to the students' research mind and developing and research attitude for how you grow yourself into a mental transformation. You have been a master level of a transformation till now, and now you are going to enter into a new phase of a researcher. Researcher is totally different from normal managers. That you must understand. This is the phase of your research that you are going to have a phase shift on your face. What is the phase shift on your face? You are going to develop a critical thinking. You are going to evaluate the papers. You are going to evaluate people. You are going to evaluate researchers. You are going to be a true human being of evaluating every researchers, having critical ability in thinking. A best human being can be appreciated if you have a deep criticism of the concepts being spreaded over. So it's really a great blessing for you to be a researcher rather than a clerk, rather than an administrator or rather than a managing business personnel. Really, you are blessed to be a researcher. You are blessed to be a scientist, I would say, researcher or a true scientist. The topic that I'm going to talk to you about, literature review, hope you would have got about some nutshell of what being research, what is the fundamentals of the research, everything. But still, you're all in the budding phase of your research career. I thought I must give you and tell you something about what is research. So today I'm going to talk to you about what is literature review. So the purpose of effective literature survey, you all may be knowing what is literature. Literature means you all may be thinking English literature, Tamil literature are the literatures. But when you say literatures, is the collection of informations pertaining to your research. Is the collection of information, putting the information into your right phase, and that is what is called literature review. So what is the purpose of the literature review? You will have a solid understanding of your research. You will be able to connect your ideas with the different authors. So you will have the, first of all, the literature information references or the research reprints is going to get you a very solid understanding on your research. Nobody could tell you comprehensively as you are going to have in the literature review. So you will be able to connect your ideas with the different authors, to show there was a gap in research and you can justify the gap, to know what are the models available, calibration methods, sampling volumes and sampling methods adopted, to ensure your work is not going to be duplicated to avoid plagiarism. So therefore, literature review is very, very important and very essential part of your research career. To confirm, when was your chosen research topic was started? Was it a recent? Was it a very old researcher? So to confirm non-obviousness, what is called non-obvious? Somebody says, what is so obvious? What is so important in a particular research topic? So it should not be said like that. What is so important? So non-obviousness is very important for you to gain the appreciation of the researcher. If the topic is too old, high obviousness. If the topic is too recent, its non-obviousness is more. To understand existing globally recognized experimental methodology, to understand the merits and demerits of using various instruments, to know which instruments, operating temperatures, flow, carrier gas, detector is suitable for your chosen parameters. So when you collect literatures, the literature is going to teach you about how do you plan for your experiment. How do you avoid improper planning of your experiment? How do you calibrate and validate your data? What model you have to choose? The literature is going to tell you about what are the models have already been attempted. What are the new models? How do you calibrate and validate your data? You're all going to be researchers. The first and foremost, you must have in your mind what authenticity the data you are going to collect is going to be correct. Who is going to ensure? You are going to ensure your data is correct, or your supervisor is going to ensure your data is correct. Who is going to ensure that the data you are going to collect is going to be correct? So when you print your thesis, what guarantee is your data is correct? How do you justify the correctness of your data? So when I was doing my PhD program, I just wanted to share with you, calibrating and validating your own data with your own method is more essential than comparing the literatures, comparing the supervisor's work or comparing anybody else's work. So as a part of your research, any method you develop, any testing you make it. It could be an ASTM method, American Society of Testing of Material. It could be an ASCE method, American Society of Civil Engineering. Or it could be AOCC method, American Society of Oil and Chemical Society. So it could be any international method. But doesn't mean that because you are adopting an international method, your data is correct. So what need to be ensured? Based on the methodology given, you have to arrive your own calibration validation method of your own data. So when you have a data, when you have an analysis, when you have a testing, you must have a control, or you must have a sampling plus control to ensure that your data is correct. A simple logic is, say for example, you are going to do your DNA testing. Example I am giving you. Nobody knows what will be the DNA in the sample. And nobody can justify the DNA tested is going to be correct or not. Because that is going to be a decision making indicator for you to get a PhD or not. And sometimes that is going to be the decision making indicator for a human being whether the coronavirus is there or not. So a simple example of making you to understand how to calibrate you have your own original sample, and beyond the original sample, you will take a standard solution of whatever the chemicals are. For example, if DNA is there. For instance, your own sample, according to the DNA analysis, you are going to get 100 nanogram per ml. And you have to know a standard solution of another 10 nanogram or 20 nanogram. And two samples you will be having. One sample will have 100 nanogram of the real sample, because you will come to know only after analysis. The another sample, the standard solution, whatever you got it, you have to, that is 10 nanogram per ml, that is a standard. You have to add into your another sample of control. So the control sample, you should get 110 nanogram per ml. That means your data is correct. So your sample you got 100, the anticipated control sample, you have added 10 nanogram, which is artificially synthesized, extra in there. So therefore, in your sample when you got 100, the other sample you should have 110 or something, then only your data can be correct. So likewise, if you want to have more data, more authentication, you can have various dilutions and plot a linear graph and find out whether your data is correct or not. So therefore, researchers should know how to authenticate, validate your own data by yourself, not by literatures or not by anywhere else. So what is research? Recognize, review and research. And see here, in the recognize I put RE is a small, and review, view and review, do and redo, pair and repair, promotion, re-promotion, cancellation, reconciliation. So you are adding re there, re there, recognize, recognize, and review. If something is viewed, you are going to review it, research it, search it, research it, which means I have searched and I have got a novel point of conclusion. That's my research, and my student is going to search what I concluded. That's the research. My grad student is going to look at what my student has concluded. So that is what search again. That's what is research. A research to be non-obvious, non-duplicated, but replicable or reproducible. It is very important that you must produce a replicable data. When somebody wanted to replicate your experiment, he should be able to get you the same data what you have collected. Then only the research is authenticated or validated. So it is very important. Replicable data collection is very important. Non-producible, it should not be non-reproducible, it should be reproducible. Original, well evidenced, well documented. Addition of new knowledge to the existing knowledge domain. Addition of new novel knowledge. Please bear in mind. How do you know what is the novelty or non-novelty? So addition of new knowledge to the existing knowledge domain, and the new knowledge should be able to be researched by someone else to conceptualize, hypothesize, and to prove another new knowledge that should be researched by your own grad students or students. So search, and finally research for true inventions, not only for publications and promotions and projections, but to solve the societal and industrial crisis. Your research outcome should be able to solve the societal and industrial crisis. Your research outcome should have a money value on it, or it should have a societal value on it, or it should have an industrial value on it. If not, that outcome of your research is going to be in the unused manner. So therefore, please make sure your research outcome or the conclusion is going to have societal, industrial and money value before you add. So money, industrial and societal value of your PhD thesis. So when you start your PhD thesis itself, it's a great time, it's a great opportunity that you got it to get inspired with the very nice speakers yesterday and today and tomorrow, that your research, when you start itself, you have to plan for a value added, industrially relevant, societally relevant PhD thesis. So you are appreciated when you become a need-based, value-added researcher or a teacher. You have to create a need-based, value-added teacher, value-added researcher. So the learning process, just wanted to tell you about, before you actually get into the researcher, I told you what is the mental transformation you must have it when you start your research career. That is what your accumulation of learning leads to understanding. Your accumulation of understanding leads to imagination. Your accumulation of imagination leads to thoughts. Your accumulation of thoughts leads to knowledge. So, accumulation of learning is understanding, accumulation of understanding is imagination, accumulation of imagination is thoughts, accumulation of thoughts or knowledge. So, you are here to do a research while reading, studying or learning. So, what is the difference between reading, studying and learning? You are here in this Anna University for learning, for reading or for studying. You must feel yourself, you are here for learning. What is the difference between learning, studying and reading? Swimming is a learning, you will not forget in your lifetime. Driving is a learning, you will not forget in your lifetime. If you learn the subject, you will not forget in your lifetime. If you study the subject, you will forget it. Study to get more marks. And learn to personalize yourself, learn to establish your personality. If you learn a beautiful method, that value of 1 crore, your industry will appreciate. If you learn how to drive a flight, that's a learning. If you learn how to drive a car, you will never forget in your life, but it becomes an asset for your career, for your life. But if you know how to do a good research, what is the methodology of doing a research? A doctor or a cardiologist or a gynecologist cannot be a best doctor if they learn how to do an operation. So you have to learn how to execute a PhD thesis. That's what the purpose of this course here. What are the methods adopted? You have to be a true knowledge transformer to your next generation. How you can create a PhD student tomorrow, how an intelligent student you can create. If a doctor cannot learn completely the operations, he will be an unsuccessful doctor. If a researcher cannot learn the method of doing the PhD, method of executing the PhD, you will be an unsuccessful teaching faculty in the later time. So therefore, please learn yourself, because this is the era of learning, not the era of studying or learning. Of course, the learning involves studying and reading also, because to our children, around 10 years back, before the NEET exam came in, whenever we send the children to the school, we always say, "Thambi nalla padipa." Today we say, "Boy, you learn well." Today, to all our children, we say, "You learn well." Why this is so? Because if you look at, recollect the 10-year-old any movie, you will be able to remember the song. But if you recollect 10 years what you have studied, you will not be able to recollect the song. Because you will not be able to recollect the principles. Or, for example, I will tell you about the Boyle's law, Dalton's law, Avogadro's law, Henry's law, Ohm's law, spectrophotometric, Beer-Lambert's law. Any law, if we ask you to repeat it now, you will say, "Sir, hang on, I studied 10 years back." But at the same time, if you ask, this movie has got this song, which movie? It will come spontaneously from your mind. Why? Because we went to the theater for learning and we went to the college for studying. Because learning is not forgetting. Driving is a learning, not forgetting. The songs we have learned from the theaters. So the theater movie makers have made you to learn the songs, like the teachers have to make an attempt to learn the subject, not only to study it. So therefore, hereafter have the culture of learning the subject. You are here in Anna University for learning the subject, not only for studying, not only for making the reading purpose. So reading is just to entertain yourself temporarily. Studying is only to score marks. Learning is not forgetting, like driving and swimming, to establish your personality. So can you please choose the one that you want to like to do your PhD? I want to get my PhD, I wish to get my PhD, I make it to happen my PhD. You must make it to happen your PhD. Just because you want to get it, you will get it. Just because you wish to get it, but you must make it. You must work yourself thoroughly by understanding this concept. This was the concept written when I went to University of Leeds in England for doing my PhD. The first day of the registration I noticed, this was the sentence written in the University Registrar's office. What is that? PhD should be taken by the merit of the scholar, not to be given by the mercy of the supervisor. If you are given by the mercy of the supervisor, that means you are unfit for research. That is what you have been mercifully given the PhD. So you should show the merits. I've made taken merit, given mercy. You should take the PhD by your merit. Yes, I have published 3 papers in 3 years, 4 papers in 3 years. You must go and tell your PhD supervisor, "Sir, can I take my PhD?" You should not beg them to your supervisor, please give me your PhD, please give me your PhD, please give me my PhD, can I write it, can I start it? So please develop this attitude. PhD should be taken by the merit of the scholar, not to be given by the mercy of the supervisor. So what is meant by smart PhD? Specific, materialistic, achievable, researchable, and time-targeted PhD. This is what we call it, smart PhD. The topic have to be very specific, and it should be very materialistic. You should not say, I'm going to find whether water is there or not in the Mars, which you cannot finish in 3 years. And it should be achievable. So before joining for a PhD, look at what facilities are available, look at what instrumentation systems are available, where all you will get, and it should be researchable. The topic should be researchable, and it should be time targeted. So if you finish only within 3 years, you are a great researcher. If you finish in 3.5 years, something is better. If you finish 4 years, something is better. If you finish 5 years, you are a dull scholar. So make sure you achieve a smart PhD concept when you join itself. So planning for your PhD duration, 0 to 6 months, complete the literature survey. 6 to 12 months, confirm the research gap. 12th to 16th month, confirm your experimental and graphical methodology. So 12th to 16th month, you must prepare a graphical methodology of your topic, of the entire topic, and show it to your supervisor. This is the methodology I'm going to adopt. Because why? In 12th month, you are going to enter into a comprehensive viva. The first year of comprehensive viva, you are going to enter, you are going to face it a comprehensive viva and defend your doctoral committee members that I am going to do my thesis like this. I am planning like this, I have planned like this, the total period is like this. So everything you are going to present in on 12th month through a comprehensive viva examination, written exam cum viva. So before you reach there, within 6 months, prepare a graphical abstract. You all may be knowing what is called a graphical abstract. Graphical abstract of methodology, not the graphical abstract of your whole work. The graphical abstract can be prepared after completing your PhD thesis. So please make sure when you submit your PhD thesis, you will be having a graphical abstract of your whole thesis, including the results and discussion. While planning the first year, you will be having a graphical methodology, how you have planned to do your PhD, what you want to invent, what methodology you want to adapt, what research gap you got, what aims and objectives you got, how you can nutshell make it as a graphical methodology of your research. So on the first year, please make sure you will be submitting a graphical methodology to the doctoral committee members, and the doctoral committee members will direct you and evaluate you and judge you whether you are in the right direction or not. And 12th to 16th month, confirm your experimental graphical methodology. 16th to 36th month, complete all your experiment with publishing minimum 3 papers. So this, you have to target it. You can do your PhD for 10 years, 5 years, 12 years also. But if you complete as quickly as possible, you get a gate pass of a doctorate. Once you get a gate pass of doctorate, you have multiple options to take your students, do much better research, and you have a better chance of getting into a good institute. But please be remembered, sir, I'm not getting a job even after completing my PhD thesis. This will arise only if you do not publish adequate papers. If you publish adequate papers, a minimum 10 papers. I am so proud to hear from our Dr. Kumaresan that he makes students publish minimum 9 to 10 papers. I am so proud of him. So a teacher should take effort to publish minimum 10 papers. You will never end up with an unemployment problem. Because you have to sell your researcher. You are not a clerk now. What you can do, write today something and tomorrow something, day after tomorrow something, calculate and make some document and type something and give it to them. You have to sell your knowledge. How you can sell your knowledge? Your paper will be a marketing indicator for you. Your research papers are the true marketing indicators for you. So if you publish good papers, good number of papers, you have every strong chances of getting a postdoctoral degree in Stanford, Michigan, Texas, Oklahoma, Greenboro, every best institute you will get. Because today's era, if somebody finds you as a good researcher, they will not leave you. If somebody finds you as a good researcher with 10 publications, or 8 publications, or 7 publications, they will never leave you because they wanted to extract more out of your research output or research potential. And nobody in the world will leave you after publishing 10 papers. Please come back to me, sir, I am unemployed, still I have published 10 papers within 4 years. You will never face that situation. And you don't have to cut a sorry figure entering into any private colleges. Sir, the fresh MTech also is getting 30,000, 25,000. After PhD, I am also getting 30,000, 25,000. Why? Because you have not extended your research potential comparatively better than an MTech students within this 3 year or 4 year. That is why you are getting the same salary. So if you would have got more than 10 papers or more than 9 papers, you would never be demoted or depromoted or made into any way. You will always get good salary, good institute, good postdoctoral fellowship. Please be remembered to be focused to publish papers right from the beginning itself. Right from the beginning, concentrate on publishing more papers within 3 years, and then you will be having your all data, and 4th year you can publish another 3 papers, so totally 6 papers at least you can make it. So 36 to 42 months, within 3.5 years, thesis writing and submission. Keep updating your literature review every year and get familiar with the recent updated literatures on your topic. So steps in research methodology. Students, this is like a Bible. I'll give it to what are the steps you are supposed to follow to execute your research. This is the common statement that we make for every researcher. These are the steps that you must undergo. These are the important and prominent steps that you must undergo to execute your research. The first step is choose the broad topic. Narrow down and confirm your topic as early as possible 2 months before the comprehensive viva. That is, on 10th month, you should be able to take your complete analysis of the literature review. So choose the broad topic and discuss with your supervisor, and you will be given a broad topic, narrow down and confirm your topic as early as possible within 2 months before a comprehensive viva. Then confirm the list of prominent journals for your research topic. What are the journals that you should not be left out with any journal? Sir, I don't know, this journal is also publishing research on my topic. So confirm with your supervisor. First and foremost, after you join with your supervisor for a PhD, confirm the list of journals that you are supposed to look into your papers on your research topic that you have chosen. And the second, discuss with your senior PhD scholars what are the potential journals. And then whenever you read your senior PhD thesis, at the back of it, you will find the bibliography. In the bibliography, there will be a repetition of journals they mentioned. First author in the bibliography, one journal. Second author, the same journal. Third author, same journal. 10th author, same journal. 15th author, same journal. That means that journal has got a very high potential on publishing papers related to your research topic. So you have to classify your journals, which is the first rated journal, which is the second rated journal for you, which is the third category of journal, 4th category of journal, 50th category of the journals that you are supposed to look into. So based on the number of citations and number of publications quoted in the bibliography or in any research papers, you go back to the bibliography or the references. There you will find number of repeated papers that who are published and the number of repeated journals. So that will be your potential journal that you should not miss it. So please have list of journals and a list of conferences, annual conferences being conducted every year. Please have that so that you will not miss it. Collect literatures, minimum 50 papers without missing any relevant papers but without any irrelevant papers. Because just because you are collecting research papers, they collect 300 papers just because greedy enough, oh, I will collect this, I will collect this, I will collect that. But those 300 papers, out of 300, 275 papers will be irrelevant on your topic. Only 25 papers will be relevant. So be focused to collect relevant literatures. And be focused to collect relevant literatures on the topic, and that is collecting literatures, minimum 50 potential papers that describe about the topic of your research. Because you can keep on adding in second year and third year immaterial. But to find the gap in research, to conceptualize the gap, to hypothesize your gap, you have to have minimum 50 research papers without missing any relevance and without adding any irrelevant papers, please collect literature. So the third step is collection of literatures, which should normally happen within second month or third month. You should start doing it. And then chapter wise filtration or grouping or develop files for each chapters. So when I was doing, I just wanted to share how I did the filtration of the literatures. Normally, I go to the sciencedirect.com and just type your keywords. It will give you lots of abstract of those papers. And then copy those abstract, group it in a different chapter-wise files. For example, you are looking at pH papers, pH related to pH, impact of pH on biogas production. So the pH papers you will put all in one files. The next file you are going to have temperature paper. All the temperature related files you will create a temperature folder. The oxidation reduction potential file, all the oxidation reduction potential files related to it, you will put it in ORP folders. So likewise, have filtration of your collected literature. You may have 100 papers, but you have to filter it based on the chapters that you are trying to look into. So you have to filter it, otherwise you will have missing of information. You will not know how to pick up pH paper, how to pick up catalyst paper, how to pick up biodiesel paper, how to pick up temperature paper. You will not be having it, because making simplicity from complexity is the minds of a researcher. When you join for a research, your mind will be a complex mind. When you finish your research, your mind will be a simple mind. Why it is? The research problems is a very complex, and you know how to trim it off to achieve simplicity. Writing also complex statement into simple statements. And planning your experiment also complex problems into simple problems. So the total researcher's attitude, you are going to transform a complexity into a simplicity. That is what you transform the collecting literatures and chapter-wise filtration. For example, how I did, because those days we had a literature review also. In the second month itself, I bought a big notebook, divider notebook used to be. That is subdivider. In the big notebook, you can take 10 pages, add a strip, this is for pH chapter. And go to the next 10 pages or 20 pages, add this is for temperature. And the same notebook, go to the third 10 pages or 20 pages, this is for catalyst. And go to the same notebook on last 10 pages, this is for oxidation reduction potential. Likewise, you filter, you first divide your notebook, a big notebook of 290 pages notebook, divide your notebook based on different chapters, so that you can open it based on what marking you have given. Oh, pH, what information is available. Your supervisor say, can you go and look into what are the catalysts they followed while making the biodiesel? You can straight away go to the catalyst. Oh, this catalyst, this catalyst, this catalyst, this catalyst. What catalysts have not been attempted? Sir, this catalyst have not been attempted. I've looked into. So then only, if you have a good notebook, and that notebook, if you keep on writing the pH information in the pH chapter, catalyst information in the catalyst chapter, and temperature information in the temperature chapter, whenever you go for a discussion, even after 10 years, 20 years, even today I go back to my notebook, look at it, what was described in the pH, what was described in the ORP, what was described in the rheology part of it, what was described in the Newtonian, non-Newtonian fluid, Bingham plastic, all these, if you classify as a chapter wise, it is easy for you to dig out the information. Dig out the published information, it will be easy for you. That is why you have to filter it chapter wise and group it and develop filters for each chapters. The fifth important aspect that you have to do is paraphrase the conclusions from literatures on chapter wise. So you have written in each chapter, now you have to paraphrase it. What is called paraphrasing? Related to pH, this author experimented, optimized the biodiesel production at pH 11. Next sentence, this author experimented and concluded that pH 7 is improper for producing biodiesel. The next author on the pH, this author have supported the first author. This author produced pH produced maximum biodiesel at pH 11. So likewise, you will be having importantly on the pH chapter alone, that is what is called paraphrasing. You may have 50 papers. Collect all those 50 papers, and every paper will discuss about pH, temperature, catalyst, everything. In a same single paper, you will be having all those information put into in a different aspects within the same paper. But you have to take the pH conclusions, pH points to the pH chapter. Temperature point to the temperature chapter. Catalyst point to the catalyst chapter within that paper. Then you take the next paper, next literature paper published. Take the pH points to the pH paper. Temperature point to the temperature paper. Likewise, you finish 50 papers. You will be having a 50 authors conclusion on pH. 50 authors conclusion on catalyst. 50 authors conclusion on temperature. Then you go back and read only the pH chapter. Oh, so many authors made similar and dissimilar statements. Contrary and similar statement. Who are all made a similar statement? Then next step you have to do similar conclusion and dissimilar conclusion. You have to do it. That is what is called paraphrasing. In the afternoon session, I'm going to tell you about how to find the research gap. In that session, I will deal with you how to exactly filter it, how to group it, what is called paraphrasing. I will tell you about that. The next is critical review of literature together with the summary table. So what is there? Here only you have to find within the pH who are all made similar and dissimilar, controversial, non-controversial statements. That's what is called critical review of literature. So students, you have to differentiate what is called literature review, what is called review of literature, what is called critical review of literature, and what is called summary of literature. It has got various meaning. I'm going to tell you about it. What is called literature review? What is called review of literature? I'm going to tell you about it. So, critical review of literature, you have to make it together with summary table. So, here, actually when you have, I told you, you'll have a pH chapter alone, 50 authors conclusion. Catalyst alone, you'll have 50 authors conclusion. There you will easily make a table. The next step is to make a table. In the table, I will tell you in the later session how to find the research gap. There I will tell you how to make a summary table from 50 literatures. And the table will clearly indicate to you what is the gap in research. So that is what is called critical review of literature together with the summary table. So in the critical review of literature, you will find, evaluate and confirm the gap in research as your original non-plagiaristic, non-obvious research topic. So, after you make a critical review of literature, after you become two critics about the published papers, and you make a summary table. In the table, Shan et al., Van et al., Lin et al., Palani et al., something you make in the left column. And the right column, first parameter will be pH, second parameter will be temperature, third parameter will be catalyst. So you look at it, Shan et al. Optimized pH at 9, Win et al. At 8, Van et al. At 7, Palani et al. At 4. And then when you look at the table, you will find out who have not attempted which pH. Who have not attempted which catalyst. That becomes your gap in research. So you have to find the gap in research. So how to find a gap in research? So you have to do the critical literature review, and then you plot your table, and from the table you find out what is left over, what has not been attempted. Sir, can it be 100% sure within 12 months or 10 months I can confirm what is left over, which pH is left over, which catalyst is left over? That is what your efficiency of doing the literature review. If you fail to do a proper efficient literature review in 10th month, you will be inconclusive in 4th year also on your topic. If you fail to do an efficient literature review and a critical summary of literature review within this 12th month, before you go for a comprehensive viva, you will always be inconclusive whether my topic somebody else have done or not. So at any cost, this is the reason I keep telling to the faculties, when you start your PhD, every month there should be a review presentation by your faculty. Even if your supervisor is not going to ask you, you have to go and make, sir, I studied 10 papers. This is my review of literature. This is my critical review of literature. Second month you go and back to present to him. Third month you present to him. But when I was doing this PhD, you know, what kind of a situation we had to the concerned faculty of the department, I have to make every month or every fortnight also that a review of literature I have to make. And in the review of literature, my own department faculty in the School of Civil Engineering, and the faculties and research students will come and sit there. I'm making these the review of literature, this journal I studied, this journal I studied. When I make it, the students will tell, hang on, you have not gone this journal, please go through this journal. And your supervisor will tell, oh, you have not gone into this journal, please add the journal. Next time when I go for next week presentation, and there has to be a weekly presentation also. So how efficiently you can confirm your gap in research if you have continuous weekly presentation on literature review till 10th month with your supervisor, with your department. So I request the Center for Research to develop a system on every week, weekly presentations in the concerned department and the faculty on review of literature, and submit it back to the web portal of the Center for Research. Yes, they have completed the review of literature presentation at least fortnight. And then only they can confirm within 10th month. So if you are not able to confirm your research concept, research gap within 10th month, till 4th year, you will be inconclusive. Please do not come to that stage. Please do not come to that stage. Have a focused presentation every week if possible, every fortnight at least, to your supervisor and to the faculties of your department. Let them tell you, they will guide you, they will also tune you. These are the journals you have not referred, all this. So please, before you find the research gap, and you must be able to find the research gap before 10th month of your research career, once you start it. And then only you can go with a simple mind without any complexity and go and make a presentation in the first comprehensive viva, first comprehensive presentation. Yes, I got this research idea, I got this research gap, this is my research plan, I'm going to make it for the next 10 months or 20 months of your experiment. So those clarity you can have if you complete all your literature review, find the research gap within 10th month. So please make sure you will be able to make a justice in confirming your research gap within 10th month. Okay, you got your research gap. What is next? You have to conceptualize your research gap. The gap you find out. But based on the gap, you have to develop a concept. What concept? pH 9 was not attempted or not used to optimize the production of biodiesel. And then you have to conceptualize what is called a conceptualization, how this pH 9 will have an impact on maximizing the yield. That is what developing concept. So first is finding the research gap, and the next is to conceptualize the research gap. You have conceptualized your research gap. Yes, pH 9 will have great impact on maximizing the biodiesel yield. But how? You have to go back your chapter pH, you have to go back the biodiesel yield, you have to interrelate the chapter-wise discussions between pH, between other parameters, So you have to interrelate all your different chapters into one folder of discussion, and what are the significant parameters it have an impact on your research gap. And then when you have that, conceptualize the gap, then you can develop your hypothesis. What is your hypothesis? Optimization of pH for maximized biodiesel yield. That is your hypothesis, but you are going to prove that hypothesis. That is what, once you develop a hypothesis, it has to be from the chronological order. You have to find the critical review of literature, you have to find the gap, you have to conceptualize the gap, and then you have to develop your own hypothesis. That is your research hypothesis. And that research hypothesis should be a non-plagiaristic, should be non-duplicated. Within 12th month, yes, my research hypothesis is non-plagiaristic. So you can type your concept, you can type your topic into different plagiarism software and find out what is the percentage of plagiarism. Then if it is really a non-plagiaristic, yes, you can carry forward as your own research for PhD program. What happens? After 4th year, somebody has done the same topic of your PhD and submitted 2 years before you submit. What will happen? So please do think of it. What happens if they submit it before you submit? What happens to your life? What happens to your career? So literature review, finding the research gap, conceptualizing the research gap, and hypothesizing your research gap is very, very important to confirm a non-plagiaristic research topic. So therefore, please do confirmation of your hypothesis on 12th month before your comprehensive viva and examination. So do the hypothesis, develop your hypothesis, and then experiment your research hypothesis. That is your own research hypothesis. Plan for a good experiment. How do you plan? Go back to your literature. See what are the experimental setup they made, what are the conditions they made, how did they simulate it, how they fabricated. So whether they got in first-hand data, then they simulated, then they extrapolated, and the output they've gone back into again designing the experiment. So likewise, understand from the literatures how do you plan for your experiment. What is called an effective planning, where you will not miss your planning of doing a good experiment. It's not that you have done 2 years of your experiment and finally come out with, oh, my sampling was so bad, instead of taking 10 ml, I have taken only 1 ml. After 4th year, you come to a conclusion, my sampling error has ruined all my data collections. Please do not end up in there. And try to find out and try to make a good planning of your experiment at your planning stage itself. Then the next step is prove the hypothesis with your own data interpretation. So you have developed your hypothesis and you experiment your hypothesis, and then now you have to prove your hypothesis. How do you prove your hypothesis? By doing various statistical models or any softwares, and you can make a linear regression, linear analysis, and make a lot of software analysis and prove your hypothesis with your own data interpretation. And then address and hold this as your own proven research hypothesis. That is what finally, that is your hypothesis. Address and hold this. When I said, you say Raman spectrum. Before spectrum, Raman's name comes. So when you prove your hypothesis, before that hypothesis, your name should come. Malati NMR. Malati NMR. Like that, that is what you contributed ultimately. Address and hold this as your own proven research hypothesis forever in your lifetime. Even in your 70th age, what is your proven hypothesis? You should be able to know, and that should be unique, that should be novel, not done by anybody else in the world, and that is what you are given for a PhD thesis. That's what you are given for a PhD degree. So therefore, make your hypothesis proven and add your hypothesis to your name, and that becomes your own hypothesis. And then add your new hypothesis with the existing knowledge domain and your area. Let your PhD student or your grad student search it. That is what is called research it. So finally, I came to a definition of what is called research it. So you got to research it, and then finally title your name on your proven hypothesis. Raman spectrum, Malati spectrum, something like that. So therefore, at the end of it, the hypothesis is going to be yours. So now, what is the difference between literature review, review of literature, and critical review of literature? I mentioned it to you about. What is the difference between literature review and review of literature and critical review of literature? Literature review is actually in general. That is title specific. It is a broad and generic review in a topic. About your topic you discuss about it. That is called literature review. More research papers can be included and discussed. It is a very broad reviewing discussion of a topic. Review of literature, it's a chapter-wise, chapter-specific informations. Because here, you talk about pH, you talk about temperature, you talk about rheology, you talk about viscosity, something like that. You have to discuss about each chapters and what is the role of that chapter in your topic. That is what is called review of literature, and the review of literature is part of literature review. Please do remember. This review of literature and the critical review of literature is part of literature review. So whenever you write literature review, you write very broadly about your topic. That's what is a literature review. And the review of literature, in the chapter wise you discuss about it, need to be tool critic and show evidence of similarities and dissimilarities of a topic. That's what is chapter specific review of literature. And then what is called a critical review of literature? This is data specific. So this is chapter specific, data specific. And this biodiesel yield was maximized to 110 ml per kg of the fat is because of, you will give a reasons and everything with numbers. That's what is called critical review of literature. Data to be criticized. When you criticize your data, that is called critical review of literature in a summary table. Helps to identify research gap. helps to understand and attribute the reasons for high or low values of the data. This is what is called a critical review of literature. So I'll talk to you about what is each one. So a different research overview paper and writing a review paper writing. So what is called, because normally PhD students, what they do it as soon as they join, within 1 year, sir, I will publish a review paper. You are not supposed to do it. That is not a review paper, that's called overview paper. Unless until you become an expert of some topic, you cannot write a review paper. Who can be your reviewer? Who really an expert can be your reviewer? So when you can write your own review paper? You can write your own review paper that you yourself have published minimum 5 to 6 papers. You have been experienced enough to criticize others' data. Then only you have to write review paper. So review paper should normally be written after minimum 3 papers published on the same domain when you want to become an author. When you want to become a co-author, no problem. So when you want to become an author of a review paper, you yourself have to publish minimum 3 to 4 papers on the same domain, then only you have to write a review paper. But you can write an overview paper. The topic of it itself have to be overview. When you can write, at the end of your first year, you can write an overview paper. That's what is called literature writing, review of literature writing, critical review of literature writing, summary of literature review writing, and here overview paper writing and review paper writing. When should you write a research overview paper and critical review paper? Research overview paper, preferably before completing the first year comprehensive viva, you can write overview paper so that you can understand the holistic scenario of what is going on in your research. And you will also have a tendency to criticize about parameters, about so many things. So that is called overview paper, research overview paper. And a critical research review paper, after publishing minimum 3 research papers on the same topic and you become an expert to criticize others' conclusion, then only you should write a review paper. Okay? So please be remembered, in the first year if you write a paper, that's not a review paper, collecting all the information. So how to make it? So steps in literature review. So what are the different steps that you have to follow in literature review? Search the literatures relevant to your study, evaluate and select sources of information, identify themes, concepts, models and chapters, organizing and outlining the literatures, start writing the literature review, review of literature and critical review of literature. These are the first 5 important steps that you have to follow while doing the steps of literature review. So search the literature relevant to your study. Develop list of keywords. So when you search it, develop the list of keywords and those keywords can be put into sciencedirect.com, engineering village. So as a key, you can put into a Google Scholar also. In this Google Scholar, it will tell you about who are all have published, what are the papers on your topic of interest that you are doing. So develop the list of keywords, and the keywords should not be ambiguous, and it should be too topic specific, and it should be tally with your research topic. Do not put an ambiguous keywords while searching. So put a focused keywords. So list of synonyms, open a scholarly database, go to the Google Scholar and find out who all published on your same domain. PubMed Science Direct, PubMed ScienceDirect.com, EndNote, identify most important publications. That's what when you go to Google Scholar or ScienceDirect.com or Engineering Village or EndNote or Mendeley, all those softwares can be used to make yourself. So evaluate and select sources of information. So this is, you have to evaluate. So you have to evaluate the selected sources of information by yourself and to know exactly whatever the information that you have chosen, is it relevant to it? Is it directly having a relevance to your topic? So that's how you have to evaluate it and select those sources of information. Then identify your themes, debates and gaps. What are the gaps you have to find out? Because I told in there itself. Okay. So then collecting, managing and summarizing the critical review of literature. So you collect lists like a jungle. You are looking into whether dinosaurs is there or not. So that is how you classify it. That's what filtration and classification. And then finding the similarities and dissimilarities. Finally you say, yes, I am researching for whether dinosaurs is there in the jungle or not. That is how you classify and to get novel ideas. So choose broad topic, narrow down. Anybody computer personnel? Yeah, இதில் இடையில் இருக்கிறது ஏன் வர மாட்டேங்குது? ஒரு நிமிஷம் இருங்க. Do not read full articles. Evaluate and select sources of information. Read the abstract and develop ideas on conclusion statement. Look at the bibliography of each publications. Observe the number of high citation papers and authors. Select good researchers in your field internationally in the reputed institutions. Be in touch with the high citation authors with your topic of discussion from the beginning of your research, helpful to identify the postdoctoral mentors. So right from the beginning, be in touch with international researchers. Be in touch with the Stanford University professors of your topic. Texas, Oklahoma, Greenboro, North Carolina. Some international professors, always be in touch. Write to them. Sir, I got this problem. Can you please sort it out? Definitely they will reply to you. If not same day, if not same week, definitely they will report it. But what is more important, your mental thinking is globalized, not localized. So when you have a discussion with the international researchers, you might feel proud of you, yes, I am ahead of his research. Or you might feel realized that I am under research on his topic where he is doing on the same domain. So please always have internationalized discussions with the professors and scientists in the abroad. So identify your themes, debates and gaps. Take notes of the connections of the different sources to easily organize your review. Observe for the trends, patterns of the data published, debates and contradictions, influential studies and gaps. So organizing and outlining the literature's chronological order means oldest, 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2005, 2010. Like that you have to organize, and the information that you are going to put in also have to be in a chronological order. That's what I said, chronological order. Thematic organizing with the several key themes, methodological organizing with the different research methods being used across studies, and theoretical use to discuss opposing theories and models. So when you classify your literatures, you can also classify based on it, because if you group your literatures based on models, based on softwares used, based on instruments used, based on methodologies adopted, still whenever you want to have a good method, you can look into. But what is important is, when you are transforming the phase of your research, you should remember which author, at least some 20 authors or 30 authors outcomes, 30 authors methodology, 30 authors minimum of his transformation that he has done on your topic. You must be able to remember. That is how you learn the topic, you learn the subject of it. So please be sure about what you are learning should have an impact on it. So collecting, managing and summarizing I told you about, and choose the broad topic, narrow down and confirm your topic as early as possible 2 months before comprehensive viva. Choose the PhDable research topic, confirm the instrumentation facilities for your research topic within your research group or university or IIT safe. Sophisticated analytical instrumentation facility in IIT, you have very good facility. Whatever the instruments you are not available in IIT, you have a safe, you can give samples and they will do it for you, and you can pay it, but you have to understand what are the methods, what are the flow they followed, what are the actual method they followed. Before they give you the result, you should be able to confirm yourself they are following the right method. Please, wherever you give outsourcing of analysis data, do not just like that give it and forget it. Please follow it, Make sure that they are adopting a right method for you. Do not feel repentant after submitting thesis. Oh, I gave the sample to somebody else. They did not attempt the right method. It is not their fault. It is your fault. You should tell them to follow the right method. And you have to dig out those methods from some literature somewhere. And you should confirm those methods before you are giving it to some analytical lab facility or somewhere else. And without confirming the methodology, you should not give samples to anybody else, because they don't know what kind of research you are doing. They don't know what kind of data you are supposed to get. So you must give a proper methodology before giving it to anybody. So narrow down your topic every month till your 10th month, and further narrow down till you submit your thesis. 11th and 12th month, confirm your topic, because you need to present it to the comprehensive waiver. Literatures are the prime source of information for the correct methodology, correct topic, comparing your results with others' technique, methods of calibration and validation of your research data. So confirm the list of prominent journals, ask list of journals from your PhD supervisor, senior research student, Google your topic, Elsevier Science, Pergamon Press, Intervalley Science, John Wiley Science, repeated publications for your research topic frequently, and the frequency of journals referred in the references. Select back reference, number of papers reported in the journal of your research. A former PhD thesis, you should be able to read it from the library, conference proceedings, international conference mostly. Confirm the list of old journals, back volumes available from Anna University, IIT and ScienceDirect.com. Please make sure how many old volume journals are available in your library, and please make sure you take a membership card from the library as soon as you join for a PhD program. And that's more important, to use a library effectively for your PhD program. So ScienceDirect.com, Engineering Village. Zotero is a place where you get literatures, Mendeley, EndNote, bibliography, free contents alert subscription. If using ScienceDirect.com, you can subscribe your topic, and freely whenever they publish papers, the abstract will automatically come to you. So that's a free direct content emailing services. You can avail it. And student free subscription of journals and membership for your field of research, student membership International Research Association pertaining to your research, developing an EndNote library for your bibliography, for your references, and EndNote remote access and awareness you have to create. Collect literatures, minimum 50 papers without missing relevance. First and foremost, find out from Anna University, IITM, SCRC, Madras University Library as what are the journals each institute has subscribed online as well as offline. So when you joined your PhD, first and foremost, you have to collect what are the journals Anna University have subscribed online. And those journals you should be able to have it a list on your notebook. And what are the journals subscribed by IIT? What are the journals online subscription they got Madras University? Likewise, in case you have a friend in IIT, you have a friend in Madras University, if you have a list of journals subscribed, you can tell to your friend, hey, you get this paper for me, I want a PDF copy of it. Like that, you can have a help from other institute if you know exactly what are the a list of journals an institute have subscribed online. So you must have it. And then type your keyword that I have told. You will get all published papers abstract, collect first abstract and published papers from the ScienceDirect.com, Engineering Village, directly from journal's website also. Store abstract and store full text papers of PDF, and paraphrasing I told you. So this is what I'll be teaching you about in the next session on finding the research gap. So I told you what is called paraphrasing, just wanted to tell you about filter all your collected literatures into many chapters relating to your research, find interesting chapters and methods that help you to carry out your research, paraphrase each chapters with the conclusions of each authors, discuss each chapter's conclusion of many authors, and find out the best innovative contributions done in your research area. Prepare a summary table of only results, numbers of the authors in ascending years will help you to compare your results later and to find the gap. So start writing the literature review or review of literatures. So general literature review writing, introduction, similar and dissimilar statement from each broad topic. Review of literature writing, chapter wise conclusions relevant to each chapters, similar and dissimilar statement from each chapters, and possible methods to be adopted and non-adoptable methods. Critics on sampling methods and procedures. It should be very much critics on the sampling methods. Even some of the published researchers would not have adopted a good sampling procedures. So you must adopt a good sampling procedures if required, and you have to play and develop your own method of sampling also. So find out broad gap in the research, and that's what the review of literature in writing. And critical review of literature writing, prepare the review of literature summary in a tabulated form I told you about, and which I will describe it in the afternoon also, of data published and the merits and demerits of the data, analyze the gap in research and establish the gap as your concept. So general literature review writing, do not copy and paste the informations from the published literatures. That's a very, very bad practice. Do not just like that copy the informations from the published literatures and paste it and show it as your literature review. And you have to write in your own style. You have to write every concept of the conclusions and everything by your own style, and you have to develop the art of writing, which is also part of the training for your research program, which is also the part of the training before you complete your PhD thesis. You should be able to write research proposals, because after you complete your PhD thesis, you are going to write research proposal to funding agencies. If you are not able to write by yourself all those literatures, because that is what you have to develop, articulate your skills into sequentially putting the information. How? Even if you are not good enough in the right English writing, do not worry about it. When you keep on writing something, you will develop the practice of good writing habit. But please develop good writing habit every day. At least one paper you read and write in your notebook, so that the reading habit, writing habit, and the assimilation capacity of your information will be much better, and reproducibility will be much more better when you keep on writing at least one paper's conclusions and methodology every day in your notebook, and that attitude will develop and make you as a good writer. Write yourself, review and edit by yourself. Write something by yourself, and then you review it and re-edit it. Rectify the mistakes by yourself. What are the mistakes you have done it? But see, it's like a mimic. You read the papers, understand the art of writing in the papers, that how they written. You try to adapt in the style of writing. Even you don't need to be an expert in English, but you can adapt how they write. This paper describes. Somebody write. You can also make, yes, this paper describes. So likewise, you adopt on your own style of write-up, review and edit your writing, sequence it appropriately, and learn the art of writing slowly by yourself. It's very easy to learn the art of writing within 1 year if you really take effort to write by yourself, and every day one paper, at least 2 papers, you start writing the conclusions, literature, everything in a notebook. You will definitely learn the practice. And try to improve the English and write-ups with repeated editing with the checklist from your supervisor. Understand from your former PhD thesis and research papers. Do not worry if you do not have a good English. You can develop English as you keep on writing, definitely you will have a better practice after you write many papers. So review of literature writing, analyze each chapter wise independently. Within each parameters, reason out why some got maximum yield and why few got lower yield. You have to reason out with the proper scientific evidence. List out the reasons for maximum and minimum values and describe science besides lower and higher values. Develop your own understanding on that values reported, or why it is that minimum value or maximum value, what scientific facts that supports you to get a minimum or maximum. Develop an alternative method of analysis to maximize the yield beyond what has been already reported. So your aim have to maximize the yield or maximize the production or maximize something. So or minimize the impact of something. So you have to understand up to what level they have done it. Then only you can go beyond it, and to go beyond it, you have to adopt an alternative, novel, innovative method to maximize it, and that method becomes your research area. So develop alternative methods of analysis to maximize the yield beyond what has been reported. So you must know what has been reported. Yes, the biodiesel production is possible only to get 100 liters per kg of the fat. That is the benchmark. But you introduce a catalyst, you introduce something else, I can maximize up to 150 by adopting my own method. What are the methods? In the literature I found optimum pH, optimum temperature, something you found out that you incorporate in here, and that you have maximized from 100 to 150. That is what you made your research worthwhile. The next is critical review of literature writing. Interlink each chapters and discuss the influence of one chapter with other chapter. So in the review of literature, you are talking about only that chapter, each chapter. Here you are interlinking the chapters. That's what you become a critical review of literature. Formulate the criticism based on the impact on one chapter's data on the other chapter. Understand and report what are the data of significant parameters, influence the yield and how they optimize many other parameters together. Synchronize the criticism of minimum and maximum value with the scientific hypothesis attributed and reasons for its minima and maxima with many chapters influence on one particular parameter. So this is how I made it a simple way. You can write while writing the critical literature review. Many researchers have attempted this. For instance, however, Several studies have indicated contrary to this, whereas similarly, so likewise, these are the improper words that you are supposed to use it when you are practicing it. So, when you want to make really a critical review of literature, critical write-up, how you can present it to find the gap in research, how that gap becomes a non-plagiaristic gap, I will tell you at 1:45. I'll come back and see you all at 1:45. I would prefer to have, I have a 5 minutes ahead of the time that I have completed. I wanted to really finish it. And now I will take one take-home message from everybody right from the back, and that message should not be repeated by others. So I wanted as the best scoring for me, whether I have delivered the right information to you or not, right from the last. It do not take much time. That's whatever the information that you got it, you have to say one word quickly. If you do not have information, you can say pass. So please give the mic to the people, mic to the persons on the last, from the last, please follow. All of you have one message. Recollect the message what I have told you, and that is what, that message should not be repeated. So if somebody else have said, you have to change an alternative message, and please make sure everybody is presenting a new message today and what I have presented now. Yes, please, go ahead. Yeah, first message, start. Yeah, if you don't have message, you can say, you can sit. Yeah, have message. What information, what is the take-home message? One take-home message I want from all of you, please. Yes.
Sir, this presentation is very nice, sir.
No, I don't want to know about presentation is nice or bad. I want one take-home message, please. Yeah. One take-home message. Quickly, if not, say next part, because I have to finish in 5 minutes. Yeah, if not, next. Please, all of you have points. It comes only 1 second. Yeah. One message.
Value-added, need-based.
Yes, value-added, need-based research. Yes, next, please.
Sir, difference between studying, reading, and learning.
Learning, reading, and studying. Difference he learned. Yes, please, next. Yes, next. Yes, come on. If not, pass the mic, please. If not, pass the mic. Yes, quick.
Okay, focus your researchers to apply patent.
Focus
Your research to apply patent.
to apply
Patent.
patent. Okay, focus your research to apply patent. Okay, next, please. Next point. Yeah.
Smart PhD.
Pardon?
Smart PhD.
Smart, specific, smart, meaning smart, she got it. What is smart? Without looking at it. What is smart? That's what you are all going to be. Quick.
Specific. Materialistic.
Specific,
Materialistic. Affordable.
achievable, researchable, time targeted. Please, next. Yes.
Group literature.
Pardon?
Group the literature.
Group the literatures. Yes, next, please.
The process of learning.
Process of learning. Yes, next, please.
Steps in methodology.
Steps in methodology. Next, please.
And then what is the difference between
No, only one point. Give a chance for others.
Critical review.
Critical review. Difference between critical review and review of literature. Okay, next.
Do not publish review papers.
Do not publish review papers on your first year. Publish review papers after publishing minimum 3 papers. If you publish in first year, what is that paper called? Overview paper. Please, yes, next, please.
The minimum time requirement for the PhD programs.
Minimum time required for?
To complete the PhD.
Okay, fine, good. Next point, please. Next.
Identify your themes.
Identify your themes. Next, please. Next.
Like how to frame our total 4 years of works.
How to frame total 4 years of work with the time frame, duration. Yes, please, next.
To publish minimum 9 to 10 papers.
To publish minimum 9 to 10 papers, not to be an unemployed. To be not to be an unemployed, you have to publish minimum 9 to 10 papers. That's good message.
Recognize, review, research.
Pardon?
Recognize, review, research.
Oh, beautiful. What is that? Say louder. Recognize, review, research. That's the point. Yes, next, please.
Find the topic before 2 months of the comprehensive.
Confirm your topic before 12th month. Yes, next, please.
Tabulate the literature survey.
Tabulate the literature survey. Next, please.
Recent updated literature till finishing.
The recent and old literatures. Okay, next please. Non-obvious and obvious. Next please.
Effective literature survey by a fortnight analysis of the
Effective literature review. Effective literature survey. Yes, next please.
Appropriate selection of abstract to our
Appropriate selection of
keywords
keywords.
to our relevant topic.
Now itself, do not have ambiguous keywords. Right, like he said, do not have ambiguous keywords when searching. Next please.
At the end of first year, publish a overview, research overview paper.
End of first year, publish overview research paper, not review paper. Exactly. Beautiful. Next.
Paraphrase each paper.
Paraphrase each papers. Next please. Good information. Next.
Finding the right journal.
Find the right journal. From whom?
From like, sir, it will be Science Direct. Good journals.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Next.
One notebook, 50 relevant papers.
One notebook, 50 relevant papers. One notebook you take, make a chapter wise, pH, temperature, make that. Very good. Good information. Take a message.
Come up with graphical methodology.
Graphical methodology. Make in the first year itself, make a graphical methodology. Next please. Quick.
PhD should be taken by the student, not to be given by the mercy.
PhD not to be given by the mercy of the supervisor, to be taken by the merit of the scholar. Excellent message.
difference between literature review of literature.
Difference between literature review and review of literature. Next please.
Collecting relevant literature reviews.
Writing.
Collecting relevant literature.
Creating connectivity between literatures. Please make sure. Create connectivity between literatures. Next please.
Identification of research gap.
Identification of research gap. When? After 3 years? After 3 years?
After 1 year.
After 1 year, exactly. Very nice. Next.
Our work should be replicable and reproducible.
Work should be replicable. Your experiment should be replicable. Anybody else wanted to confirm your experiment? They should be able to replicate it. Beautiful. Next, please.
Read one article daily.
Read one article daily. Please take the home message for improving your English writing. Next.
Planning a PhD durations from 36
planning a PhD in the right duration.
36 to 42 months.
36 to 42 months. Do not go beyond that. Next, please.
Should not criticize other without having enough knowledge.
Yeah, before criticizing others, you cannot have without having adequate knowledge on that particular domain to write a review paper. Exactly. Next.
10 journal paper studying per month.
10
journal papers to be studied per month.
Okay, that somebody has repeated. It's not a new message.
So that that's discussed with the guide.
Okay. Every week, make your department a review paper presentation. Every week, you are a new researcher, make a literature review presentation every week or every fortnight, at least every month to your guide, and find out what journals you have left out and confirm from your guide or from a senior scholars. So if you present it to your own department, that is called a literature review presentation. Every week, Friday or Friday 3 o'clock, or every fortnight, you will get a chance. Your senior scholars will tell you, these are the journals of MIS. Please have fortnight or weekly presentations. Next, please.
Organizing the literature based on chronological and methodological.
Organizing your literature based on chronological and methods based, and what else? Methodological order. What else? There are 3 more orders. Okay, he will tell you.
The importance of identifying the most related research paper relevant to our research domain.
Yes, do not select irrelevant research paper. Do not have 300 papers good for nothing. Yes, next please.
Evaluate and select the source of information.
Pardon?
Evaluate and select the source of information.
Okay, right. Next please. Next.
We should first narrow down the topic of our research.
Narrow down your topic of research. Next please. Come back. Come to the front. Yeah, I have to finish. I already crossed 5 minutes.
Need to have minimum of 3 paper publication in the domain to criticize any review paper.
Before writing review paper, minimum 3 papers to be published. Yes.
Try to communicate with the international researchers.
Try to communicate with the international researchers by email. Even if 10 of them are not able to reply, attempt to the 11, so that, what is the purpose I said to do it?
Sir,
you can compare your research temperament with an international researcher. So that you are a globalized researcher, you are not only a local researcher. So be a globalized researcher, always in touch with an international research forum. Yeah.
Consolidation of our research work, sir.
Pardon?
Consolidation of our research
Conceptualization of your research work, very good. I want somebody to tell the 14 steps, if anybody can tell correctly all 14 steps without missing.
How to collect the papers and find out which paper is suitable for us or not.
How to collect the paper without make irrelevant papers and suitable papers alone. Next. Quick. I hope somebody is going to tell 14 points.
Topic wise note down. For example, temperature catalyst.
Yeah, develop templates for each topic. Yeah. Next.
Your PhD thesis should have a money value or should deal with
Your
society.
research outcome should have a money value or societal value or industrial value. If not, it's not a good thesis. Next, please.
Learning process, concepts like, knowledge, imagination,
Understanding.
and the
Knowledge, imagination, understanding. Okay, next. Yeah, somebody is going to say correctly. Okay.
Evaluate the research gap.
Evaluate the research gap. Without evaluation, don't confirm it.
My research where I will going to put the correct journal based on the previous literature.
Yeah,
survey.
based on the previous literature, where he has to publish the paper, his own research, you should know well in advance, within 1 year. But that is easily publishable. Yeah, follow. Next, 5 minutes only. I have taken exactly 5 minutes for them. The same 5 minutes I want to finish.
Ideas should be making simplicity out of complexity.
Ideas should be making simplicity out of complexity. Excellent.
Research gap should be unique.
Research gap should be unique. Yeah, next.
The filtration of all the research.
Yeah, filtration of all the literatures based on chapters, different chapters. Yes.
Yeah, the difference between literature review of literature.
Difference between literature review and review of literature. Beautiful message.
Review.
Yeah. They will. Yeah, go ahead.
Difference between reading, studying and learning.
Pardon?
Difference between reading,
Difference
studying
between
and learning.
reading, studying and learning. Next, please.
Our hypothesis with match with current knowledge.
Yeah, your hypothesis should match with the current knowledge. Yeah, that means you develop a hypothesis that should match with the advanced knowledge, not with the very old knowledge. Yeah, okay. That should be new hypothesis. Yeah, quick.
Identify the online journal subscribed in.
Identify the online journal subscription available in Anna University. Please, this is a very important point. Identify what are the journals Anna University Library have subscribed. Identify what are the journals IIT have subscribed, online journals. Identify what are the journals Madras University have subscribed. Those, if you know it, you can get where your journals can be obtained for Anna University or IIT elsewhere. Please.
Narrow down your research area.
Narrow down your research area.
By identifying the research gap and list out the keywords.
Okay, list out the keywords. Next, please.
Critical review of literature is the.
No. Your literature review should be topic specific. Your review of literature should be chapter specific. Your critical review of literature should be data specific. Yes, exactly. Good message. Next.
Don't copy and paste the
Don't copy and paste the literature review on your research papers or your thesis. Write yourself, understand, emulate yourself based on your understanding. Because anybody can easily find out whether you copied or pasted. Your guide can easily find out. And the guide will lose respect on you because you are copying and pasting it. Do not do that, please.
The research paper we produce be the true marketing indicators.
Research paper that you produce should not be theoretical to improve marketability. Social, money, finance, marketability you have to add. Exactly, good message.
Title your name on your own hypothesis.
Title
your name on your own hypothesis.
Beautiful. Title your name at the end of your PhD thesis with your own proven hypothesis. Raman spectra. Likewise, Maladi spectra or Nirmala spectra. Something like that. Title your name with your thesis. Yes.
English language is not a problem.
Pardon?
English language is not a problem to write.
Yes, English language will not be a problem if you continue to practice it. Practice can make perfect. If you do not practice it, your English can never be perfected. Yes, next please.
Keep updated your literature survey.
Keep update your literature survey till your 3rd year or 4th year. Very good. Good message.
Develop a concept on your research gap.
Develop a concept of your research gap. Beautiful. Next.
Compare your work, validate your data.
Compare your work value to the other. So it should be market driven research. Yes.
Chapter-wise filtration.
Chapter-wise filtration. Somebody has said still it's okay. Next please.
Read papers and write at least one page. Read papers and write at least 1 page a day.
Okay. Every day at least 1 page. Write up.
Connect idea, justify the gap.
Create connectivity in ideas of justifying the gap. Connect your ideas, justifying your research gap. Beautiful message.
A societal need to produce a PhD thesis.
Societal need of your PhD thesis. Beautiful.
Experiment your own hypothesis.
Experiment your own hypothesis, not a plagiaristic hypothesis. Yes. Please make sure experiment your own hypothesis. Do not have old hypothesis or somebody else. Yes, next please. Quick.
To conduct literature review and understand how the research evolved through the years.
Okay, how the research evolved through a year, you have to conduct literature review meetings or presentations. Yes.
Always calibrate and validate your own data.
Always calibrate and validate your own data. Beautiful message. Do not depend on the published data, which is correct. You must have your own data calibration validation methods. Beautiful. Next message. Good take-home message. This one is, please, good take-home message.
At least collect a minimum 50.
Minimum 50 research papers before you come for a comprehensive viva. Yes, and to find the gap.
To become an author, publish at least 3 journals.
Yeah, to become a reviewer author, publish at least 3 journal paper. Yes, next.
To know the operating procedures of the outsourcing people before giving an
before giving an analysis for outsourcing, make yourself your method is correct method you are giving to the outsourcing analyst. If you give a wrong method to SAFE in IIT, they will do wrong. Where you will come to know while you submit your thesis, oh, I give the only 1 ml sample instead of 10 ml. So I asked him to use 1 ml in gas chromatography instead of 0.5 ml. So that message, that mistake you should not do it, and do it from the beginning itself. Whomsoever you are giving outsourcing of analysis, learn that method, confirm the method before you are giving for analysis. Beautiful.
Confirm the list of prominent journals which is
confirm the list of prominent journals before 2 months or 3 months.
Before 2 months.
Yeah, before 2 months. Exactly. Beautiful. Confirm the list of journals available on your research domain within 2 months.
Adopt good sampling methods.
Adopt new sampling methods. Beautiful. Yes, next please. I'm expecting somebody to say 14 steps in research, please.
Use alert messages for manually.
Say again.
Use alert subscription for updated journals.
Yeah, direct alert, free subscription for journals. Yes. ScienceDirect.com gives a direct subscription. Yeah. Former PhD thesis always refer. Okay, beautiful.
Get familiar with recent updated literatures on.
Get familiar with updated literatures. Okay, next please. Next please, quick.
Summary of mixing of writings like contrary to this, however.
Similar contrary messages you have to put it. Similar, dissimilar, contrary message. Next please.
Paraphrase the conclusion from the literature.
Paraphrase
the conclusion.
Paraphrase your conclusions from the literatures. Okay. Good message, yeah.
Sir, if you don't mistake, shall I see and tell you the 14 points, sir?
Pardon?
You asked for the 14 points.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
But not seeing the notebook. No, I don't want to read from the book. That everybody would have done it.
Yeah,
if you can close the book and tell me, I will appreciate.
No, sir.
No, you have to close the book and tell. No, pass. Next.
I'll tell you the other points, sir.
Yeah.
Add new hypothesis to the existing domain.
Add new hypothesis to your knowledge, what you are adding. Add a new hypothesis to the existing domain, and that new hypothesis will be a research topic for your student and for your grad student. Beautiful. Next. Anybody want to say? You have to say by closing the notebook, not by reading it. That anybody can do it. Yes.
Get clarity of methodology by critical review.
Yes, get a clarity of methodology by critical review of literature. Yes, next please. Quick. I have only 3 minutes. If not, say pass.
Confirm the research gap in your own original.
Yeah, confirm your research gap in your own method. Okay. Yeah, good.
How to identify the research gap?
How to write the research gap? How to identify the research gap? See, got in. Very good.
Connect your ideas with different authors.
Say again.
Connect your ideas.
Connect your ideas with the different authors. Yes, next please.
Understand globally and not locally.
Yeah, beautiful message. Very good.
Research is original, well documented and well evidenced.
Yeah, research is original, well documented, non-obvious evidence of information. Yes.
Data to be criticized in summary table helps to identify the research gap.
Oh, beautiful. Good. Next. Quick.
To look for trends.
Pardon?
To keep looking for trends.
Yeah. Trends and patterns of your data. Yes, beautiful. Next. Of the old data, yeah.
Develop list of keywords.
Develop list of keywords in the first instance, yes. Now, without any ambiguous keywords, yeah.
Motivation throughout the system should be that I will make my PhD.
Oh, motivation should be there towards research that I make it to happen my PhD, that I will not beg to get my PhD. Beautiful message.
Prove the hypothesis with your set of data interpretation.
Okay, prove your hypothesis with a good data interpretation. Exactly. Extrapolate, interpolate.
Make a table. Table will indicate what is the gap.
Make a table of a literature review. The table will indicate what is the gap. Beautiful message. Yes. That I am going to tell you next class. Yes, quick.
Experiment your
Even
own
now you are
research
reading from the
hypothesis.
note. Okay.
Experiment your own research hypothesis.
Experiment your own research hypothesis. Okay. Non-plagiaristic.
Do not be a dull scholar and publish your topic before someone does it.
Okay, do not be a dull scholar because somebody else will publish on the same domain before you publish. Maybe your own counterpart to make your career become so. Be alert to publish papers as quickly as possible before somebody else buy. That is what is survival of the fittest from the survival of the existence. Publish papers quickly before somebody else publish. That's how you finish your PhD quickly. Yes, next please.
Chapter-wise filtration and grouping for new chapters.
Shorter?
Chapter-wise filtration and grouping for new chapters.
Okay, grouping for new concepts. Yes. Next please. Quick.
We should publish 3 research papers within 3
Yeah, already told. Anyhow, it's good.
Have a habit of writing daily and start editing on your own.
Have a habit of writing theories and philosophies based on your research topic. Very good.
Good technical writing should be there.
Good technical writing should be improved by yourself. Yes, next please.
Make use of university library in a well-equipped way.
Make use of university library without fail, please. Yes.
Networking with fellow researchers and keep updated. Networking with fellow researchers.
Networking with the fellow researchers in other universities like IIT, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Kanpur, IIT Powai, IIT Delhi. Likewise, have interactions with other researchers in other institute in your similar area where you get knowledge strengthened. Yes.
Study broadly, know the demand and crisp the topic.
Yeah, study broadly, know the demand and group your research and make your target. Market-driven research. Yes, next. Thank you very much. Yeah, somebody is good. Yes, madam. Yeah. Finally, madam is also having a point. Beautiful.
Researchers should have the mindset to accept the negative results and comments from the reviewers.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you.
It's a nice message. If you publish your papers, the negative comments going to be given by your reviewer. It is going to add on value to your PhD thesis. More the reviewers, if you publish 10 papers, minimum 30 reviewers would have reviewed your work. So you will not be fearful for your viva, because 10 people have already reviewed it or 30 people have reviewed it. So more publication, more chance of your work being reviewed by more reviewer, so that less chance of you failure, in which 30 reviewers, when they are reviewing, any one of the reviewer is going to get you a postdoctoral fellow because your work is so nice. If you are giving it to only 3 reviewers publishing 1 paper, you get a visibility only with the 3 reviewers. If you are publishing 10 papers, your work is going to be visible for 30 reviewers from Stanford or Texas. At least 1 reviewer will send you a letter, please come to me for a postdoctoral fellow that I got a project. So make a visibility of your research by publishing more papers. Excellent message, sir. Excellent. I like it. Yes, madam.
You should not hide from your guide. You should meet your guide at least twice a week.
Exactly. Don't hide from your guide. Meet your guide at least twice a week. You know what for? What for? Yeah, madam, a beautiful message that is. What for you have to make? Not to show your presence. Every time go with your objective discussions with him. Do not go and just make it, because he might give you so many other work. Can you type it? Can you do this? It's still part of your learning. But more importantly, go with an objective of you to discuss with your guide. At least one point, go and sir, can this journal be referred? Is it a good journal? Can you give me the list of journals that I can follow? Or can you give me a different method of writing bibliography? Oxford reference, Harvard reference, what is that? Something always go with, meet your guide. Develop interpersonal relationship with your guide at least till you complete your PhD, because you have a teacher will always be lifetime mentor for you throughout your life. Thank you very much. Thanks for all your nice feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation. It's my pleasure to thank my DC member. Sir is my DC member for my doctoral degree. He is one of the busiest person. In spite of his busiest schedule, he has spared some time for us. Thank you once again, sir, for devoting time to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.